Here we are in Lanesville. Can you guys introduce yourselves?
I'm Craig Dulong.
And Sash Ludwig.
And we're at 1150 Washington Street in Lanesville.
Correct.
Right.
And we're here to talk about solar. And you guys are just came up on your year, one full year with solar.
Yes.
Yep.
And Cazeault Solar, Tim Sanborn's company. Tim's with us right now.
Yes.
He installed it
Yes.
and sold it to you. And can we talk? I would like to
He
talk.
sold it to us.
Sold it to you. Yeah. The hard sell. So, so now that you have a full year, you know what the money outlay was, and you see what your electric bill was. Can you talk a little bit? First, what led you to deal with Tim and Cazeault Solar?
Well, I'd actually been looking into it for a number of years, and I had somebody come up maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and they came up on the roof and they looked at it with me and said, well, yeah, we can do this. There were a number of trees that we had to take down, or actually 11 trees we had to take down in order to put the system in. And the guy who came up before also knew this, and I wasn't really ready to go at that time, and we didn't run any numbers. I just sort of left it at that. And honestly, I don't know how Tim came into our lives, but we had looked at a couple of systems, or actually it was somebody else that came
Yeah,
up.
somebody from Rhode Island, I think, came and we interviewed him, but I wasn't wowed by his presentation or convinced that was the right way to go. And then I did meet Tim at our Business Networking
that's
International group,
Right.
and he handed me a card, and I said, I'm going to call this guy. And he came over, and he came over a few times and made a presentation, and it was, right on, spot on, everything made sense. Any questions that we had, he was able to answer them very clearly, and I felt very comfortable with him being somebody that we could rely on, and that, that it would be a relationship that would be maintained into the future. It wasn't just going to be, let's just sell these people a system and move on to somebody else, because he's been right on with us, since the installation, which is over a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing that Tim takes the time to do is he really explains the numbers. And if you don't get it, he'll do it again. And until you can't take it anymore.
That's great.
But no, he did. He took the time to, and fortunately I was able to put it together in my mind. And I think the real hard part is when people don't know what the solar recoverable energy credit is, the SRECs. They don't know what it is, where it comes from, how it's generated, and who it's sold to. I took the time after he explained it to me to figure out what it was about. And I think the other part that's difficult to understand is he gives a scenario of a payback period of 4 to 5 years. He says 3 to 4. I think it's 4 to 5. But and it's a matter of how much money you save on your electric bill, which is definitely there, but you don't get a check in the mail, so it's really hard not to put that money in your pocket without just, you have to think about it, that I'm not paying this to the electric company, so it's money in my pocket. The other is the SRECs, which you do get a check for, and the third part is the tax credit. And we were fortunate enough to get into a program when he signed us up. The state of Massachusetts actually had it's not a credit, it's a rebate. And we got a rebate from the state for installing the system. Now that was definitely money in our pockets. But the third part is the tax credit, and you don't see that unless you pay taxes. And I don't know anybody that doesn't pay taxes. But you don't see it, especially for us. We're both self-employed, so we don't get a tax return. We have to usually pay out money, and so what we ended up doing is not paying nearly as much money this year, and I think we have a tax credit left over. So if we had a $7,000 tax credit from the system, we probably only used a portion, a third to a half of that.
Wow.
So next year we get to write off the other portion of that. So it's really difficult to put those numbers into your pocket because you don't actually see the money, you just don't see it
Going out, right.
So you have to keep that in mind when you're running the numbers.
Well, what was really, so I just, I got here about 20 minutes ago, and I was looking at, some of the assumptions which were handed to you, I'm assuming before you even did the install.
Right.
And he said, this is what we think your system is going to generate.
Mm-hmm.
And now, after you have a year in, the actual number, it surpassed it by 13%.
Right.
So I'm always a fan of under promise and over deliver, and in this case, that's definitely the case. And I think a lot of people, some people, I used to be very skeptical of green energy, what they would say they could do, because I always felt like they were just trying to sell it to you, and you didn't really know what was going to happen. But now that people have been doing these installations and the numbers are coming back, they're not, in your case especially, like you surpassed what they told you that you were going to get back.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, in the beginning when we were first researching that there are other companies that promised that you could, it would be free, that they would, pay for the panels and, everything would be free. But in fact, that company would own your roof and, you don't get any credits. And it seemed attractive at first, and then you start researching it and you realize that it's not attractive at all. So what we did was we took out the home equity loan, and it's a little scary at first because we not only had to pay for a new roof, because we wanted a new roof to put the panels on, because
It was an old roof.
it was an old roof, and you insisted because you're not putting any nice panels on an old roof, but that it just made sense that we own the system,
Right.
that it's, although we're paying, for the equity loan, we can pay that off. And I feel really confident that we've made an investment that will last, at least 20, 25 years. That we can feel very confident about not only the system that's on our roof, but the relationship that we've developed with Tim, which, I'm very confident to be able to share that with my friends and encourage them to consider solar, because I think it's not only a good investment, but I think it's obviously great for the environment that we're all in this on Cape Ann and on the planet, reducing our carbon footprint.
Right. So you get the double bang. You get you feel good about doing good for the environment. You are doing good for the environment, but it also makes financial sense.
Yes.
Yeah. So your electric bills come in, and is it zero, or how does that work?
Usually, I was really surprised. The system went online April 22nd, 2015, and we got our electric bill for April, and it was actually a negative amount.
Wow.
And that was only like
Yeah.
8 days or something like that of having the solar panels on the roof operating.
Yeah.
It was negative $8.20 or something like that, but
That's
it was a negative bill, and it remained negative right up until September, October, probably November is when we first went the other way. We had to pay. I think it went positive, and when we got our electric bill for November, and it stayed that way through the winter because there's no sun. But what the deal is the negative that we had in the summertime pays for the wintertime.
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
end up with a zero bill for the year,
That's fantastic.
which is,
Yeah.
on average, I guess it's between $1,000 and $1,500 per year people pay for electricity now, depending on what kind of house you have, of course, but just an average house.
Here's a question. As far as because there's many different levels of tax and state and federal incentives, right?
Yes.
Now, how, on a scale from 1 to 10, how difficult did you find that, and did Tim, did they help you prepare those documents to submit, or how does
Yeah,
that
there
work?
was all sorts of documents and they had them, and our accountant just had one more form to fill out, basically, for the IRS and the state. The state was a little bit more difficult because they hadn't set up. He files electronically, our accountant, and the state wasn't set up to take an electronic filing for the solar part of the system. So it was a little bit of a mix-up, but it's not a big deal.
And was that on you, or did Cazeault and Tim's company help you through that
Yeah,
process?
it was all, and Tim gave us this wonderful manual, so everything that we knew was going to happen we were anticipated was in this manual. So if we actually read it page by page, as we were instructed to do,
No, it's,
we would have known exactly what was happening and when and what to do, and
well,
it was great.
we wouldn't have known that the state wasn't able to
Well,
accept it.
that
That
was-
was the only problem we had with the whole thing, was the
That was
fact
minor.
that the state was not prepared to accept returns electronically because of this one little part, which is the solar part.
Yeah,
And I'm
that
sure
was-
by next year they'll be able to do that.
Yeah. All right. So
Nothing.
nothing.
It was nothing.
I saw the install. I'll take some pictures. I'll add it into the video. Very clean. Very. I mean, because you have this. Your house is beautiful, but it looks like it fits right in.
It does. You can't even see it really.
Yeah.
And they were neat as a pin. Putting the installation, nothing was left anywhere.
There was one little
It's easy.
holdup on this whole thing, and he sold us the system in November, and I think he says you'll have it in within 60 days. That's his promise now. But at the time he had it, I think it was the end of November, we got our permit because we wanted to get in the state rebate, which was terrific. And he didn't promise us that it would be within 60 days, but he called us when he was going to start the roof so that we could have the new roof for the solar panels. And they delivered the shingles on the next day. It started snowing in 2015.
Oh, 2015.
Forever.
When it didn't stop, and we had 8 feet of snow banks everywhere.
So Tom,
Right.
Tim didn't, take that into account.
Yeah, November of last year. Right.
The shingles actually, the delivery actually got buried under the snow. We
Right.
had to wait until the snow melted.
Right. But that shouldn't be an issue nowadays.
No, that was,
Right.
yeah.
That's fun.
There you go.
I can't control. We try to control the weather, but we're struggling with that concept.
Yeah. There's Tim hanging
Good
out.
morning, Gloucester.
There you go. And so, all right, I'm gonna go out and take some pictures. Is there anything that you'd like to finish up saying? Is there anything that people should look out for, or questions that they should ask that you think are pertinent? That
I think the only thing they really should keep in mind is to make sure they understand what the numbers are and where they come from. It's really important for you to feel comfortable with your system. I've talked to other people about their systems, and they've had other companies install them, and they say, well, what is this SREX stuff? And, how do I get it? Who buys them? What is that? And they just need to understand SREX, and the other part I think they really need to understand is the tax credits that you get. It's not money in your pocket, it's just money that doesn't come out of your pocket.
Right.
That's where the savings is.
from what I understand, people that have there's different tiers too of income nowadays. Tim,
That's with the new Massachusetts solar loan program.
right.
Just came out in the last 60 days.
Oh,
And that offers folks that are struggling with that escalating electric bill, offers them an opportunity to get a low interest loan. In fact, one of our clients just yesterday got a loan and her interest rate was 1.4%.
wow. Yeah.
And it also has some give backs if the family household income is at different income thresholds.
Which makes it even more attractive
Exactly.
than the other ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think the electric bill, when was it, in September, started to double in price.
Correct. Yeah.
So I was really happy that we had,
Your timing was perfect,
it was perfect. I was like, yes.
except for the snow.
That's not much.
I do also want to just say one thing, that we're blessed because a lot of our customers have become our friends. also with Sash and Craig, this is two local business owners that are investing in their home with a local business owner. You know, Sash runs Juice Plus here in the North Shore, and Craig is a tremendous craftsman. I just seen some of his work, and I just want to compliment him on his I call it artwork. It's tremendous work. So
There you go.
if you need a good craftsman or you need to get healthy, please give them a call.
Thank you.
I'm on the
growing
target
flower
to get
gardens,
healthy.
yes.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you letting us in the home and being part of the Good Morning Gloucester Alternative Energy Series.
Yeah,
Thank you.